welcome. Jane here. I am going to create this pretty cute card, if I do say so myself, using my new Dancing in the Rain stamp set, my March release. And I'm going to be sharing a little bit how I color and mask, which are my favorite techniques. So I want Rosie to be up front because Marco and Sebastian will be joining her. But I want her in the front, which means I'm going to have to cover her up with the mask that I created. You can see off to the right side there. Just a scrap piece of paper, and I'm going to cover her up and stamp Marco and Sebastian on top of, as you can see here, so that they will appear like they're standing behind her. So you just press down firmly and voila. Now, if you have any broken lines, don't worry about it. My advice is you don't try to like draw them in with a fine marker just yet. Color in your images first, because most of the time with all the coloring, you don't even see them. But if you do, if it's like, you know, visible, then just take a fine marker, like a really fine marker, and just carefully draw it in. Now we've got Sebastian, his cheeky little mouse. He's Italian, and he's Rocco's best friend. So now I'm going to share again a few coloring tips. I mean, I have nothing new to share, but I'll do a little repeat, because I know there are some of you who are new to coloring, and so I'm just going to share what works for me. Now I'm using markers to color and pencil crayons, and here are some of the markers. I use these graphite markers. I mentioned before that years and years and years ago that the company sent them to me, and I love them, and I use them, and I purchased them with my own money as well. You know, they're really good. And I also like that they have, you notice there's black ones that I'm using and the white packaged ones. And they're the same marker, but just the different tips. The white one has like one end is a super, super fine tip, and the other one, and the other end is like a brush. And then the black ones also have like a fine tip, but not like super fine, or like a regular kind of marker. And then the other end is like a highlighter marker. So anyways, now here's a perfect example of why you should be using pencil crayons with your markers, because usually I work with 3 shades, my light, medium, and dark. Now, coloring Rosie's raincoat, I only had my light and my dark. I was missing that medium color. As you can see, like I don't have that to tie in the light and the dark. The marker dried up. Like it's one of my favorite yellows. I just used it all up. But that's why these pencil crayons are awesome. And before I go in with my pencil crayon, I want the markers, the yellows, for it to dry, so then I could go on top with my pencil crayon. So then I just will go and continue coloring something else, like I am now Rosie's little cute face. First, I'll put my color down where I think I want the shade to be, and then I'll go and color her whole face with my lightest color. Then I'm going to go back again, adding a darker shade to where I want the darker bits to be. And like I said in my previous video, it's a lot of back and forth. And just making sure that you don't overblend, just so that your colors will travel, depending on, I don't know what kind of paper you're using. But like, if I'm just coloring and blending, like the paper becomes so wet, the color will travel and bleed out. So just keep that in mind. And that's another reason I love to use pencil crayons to add my darker areas. You know, I just feel like I have more control. But I'm going to the ears, and it's just back and forth with my darker and my lighter shades. And eventually I'm going to go in, like you'll see, with my pencil crayons. So this little set, Dancing in the Rain, is a cute little 4x6 stamp set. And the stars are Marco, Rosie, and Sebastian, like I mentioned, I think. Marco is based on my oldest son. Rosie is just, I don't know, Rosie Rabbit. I mean, it goes. It's cute. And she's cute, so that's where I got that name. Sebastian, I think I mentioned I grew up in Canada in a neighborhood that was like 90% Italian. So, I mean, they left their mark on me. You know what I'm saying? They left it. So a lot of my characters have Italian names. I can't help it. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, with my pencil crayons. I am taking a medium shade and I am just working it to soften those edges of the darker shade. And my advice is go in softly. Soft, like don't press down hard. Just, you know, a lot of blending, soft, loose hand, and it works wonderfully. And I just like, it's a lot of going back and forth. I don't know what to, you know, say. That's my advice. Back and forth, and use those pencil crayons. They just add something almost like a texture, but, and so I recently bought these, oh my goodness, are they called oh no, these are my son's pencil crayons by the same company, much cheaper. And I've been using them for years and I love them. But recently purchased those Polychromos, what are they? I don't know what they're called, but you know what I mean. A lot of card makers use them and they're fabulous. Highly recommend them. Oh, here they are. So this is what I recently purchased. Wonderful, yummy colors, and they work great. But I'm telling you, those ones that I bought for my son to use for school, which are a lot cheaper, are awesome. So, and I think I'm going to do a giveaway of those pencil crayons on my Instagram. So keep an eye out for that. So, I'm just going in now with my darker shades just to add detail, add shading, and you just have so much more control. You know, sharpen up those pencil crayons real, you know, to a nice point, and you could get in there really. And not worry about, because going in with like darker shades of marker, it's a little bit tricky. It is. Okay, so again, just going back with a medium shade. And now I'm going to move on to Marco's raincoat using this blue. That's another thing I noticed. If you look at my cards, you'll notice there's a color palette that I'm using over and over again. You know, and I bring this up just so that, like, if you are just starting to buy your color, your markers, I'm sure there are certain colors that you are just naturally, you know, your eye goes to those colors. So this type of blue, this teal blue, I love to use it. And these certain shades of yellow or whatever, but I think buy these colors in a lighter, markers in a lighter shade, and then use your pencil crayons to add the darker shade until you build up, I mean, you know, gradually build up your markers, your collection. But so sometimes I start with my light color first and then add my dark. Sometimes I start with the dark color, you know, but you'll notice I always add my first layer of where I think the shade will be, where I want the darker bits to be. And then I go from there, back and forth, back and forth. And then I'll just kind of drag the color out a little bit, like with these kind of brush strokes, like straight across. And then back and forth and back and forth. And then eventually I'll go in with my pencil crayons. So here I'm going down with my light color, putting it pretty much covering the whole hood. Going now in with my darker shade and going where I think they're, you know, where I think, I don't have like, I just put it where I think it'll look nice, to be honest with you. I don't put too much thought into it, nor do I think you should either. Don't stress yourself out about where the shade is, where this or that. Just color, have fun, relax. That's the whole point of it, you know, and it's going to be gorgeous. So back and forth, and I think I'm looking for my pens. Yes, I am looking for a pencil crayon to add my darker colors. And I think I'm going to pull one from here and then one or two from my son's collection. And I always like to do a little swatch just to check. And here I'm going in with this darker color, and you're going to see like the difference it makes. And again, I'm just going in, I'm not pressing hard. I'm not, you know, it's just patience, you know, just a light hand and just, you know, creating layers. And if you do happen to just, you know, by accident, because it happens to me, you know, where I'll just press a little too hard, or, you know, just take an eraser and gently, you know, erase it. And it works. So I think I'm going in now with a more medium color, and it's just back and forth, people. This is what you do. You sit down, you get your pencil crayons out, your markers, your watercolors, what it is. You put on a movie, you put some music on, and you just enjoy your life. And don't worry about it. And don't compare your coloring or anything to anyone else's. So I'm going to add some stripes, a little detail with this darker shade. And I love to add details, little dashes, little dots, little stripes, whatever. I think it makes such a difference. And so again, just carefully, lightly creating my stripes. And it really does make a difference, I think. Like, look. It looks so much better. But yeah, I'm just going in gently, and then I'll just add a little more pressure and more layers to the, you know, the darker, where I want it to be a little bit darker, where the shading is. And then I'm going to, I think, move on to Marco's body, the brown colors. Yeah, so I'm just going to add this here. And I'm not going to spend this whole video on coloring because it would, first of all, it'd be an hour because I take my time. I don't rush because I'm enjoying it. I love to color. It's my favorite technique, masking and coloring. And, but I do want to show how I made the background, which you'll see shortly. So I'm going in with my browns. And I'm going in with my lighter color, and I'm not gonna, you know, okay, so yeah, I'm placing it everywhere, but just, I'm not, you know, fussing too much about it. I'm just quickly, you know, coloring it, not worrying too much about it. Gonna go in with my darker color now, and just place it where I think I want the shadow to be, and the darker bits, which is along the jacket, you know, a little bit there. And then I'm going to go in with a darker color and just go over these bits here, you know, where I want it the darkest. But I'm still going to go in with a pencil crayon. So, but I'm doing this. Now I'm going to go back with my medium shade and kind of pull out a little bit. You'll see I'm just kind of touching the edge of that one. I don't want to go too over the darker bits that it doesn't bleed out. But I'm going now with my medium color, and then I'm going to go with my lighter color. And then it's just a lot of back and forth, adjusting, but don't go overboard because like I said, we don't want the paper to get too wet to over blend, and then the color just starts to spread. So here I am just softening up a little bit of the edges, a little bit going over these areas that I want the lighter color to be. And then I am going to pick out my pencil crayons, where I will be adding a little bit of shade, and also I'll be adding some like texture. I'll be doing some little dashes to create his Marco's fur. But I almost forgot about his ear sticking out, which I don't know why it's sticking out, because like, I mean, the hood could cover his ears. It's not like he's got Rosie's ears, but I don't know. I think it looks cute. So here I'm going in with the pencil crayon, again, light-handed, and just, you know, working it gently. And it really, really, really looks good. I mean, it does, like, I don't think, I never did that before. I never used pencil crayons before. I was just strictly markers. And then I don't know what, I think I was watching I don't know whose video I saw that they used pencil crayons too. And I'm thinking, yeah, why not? Like, why not pencil crayons? And then I took my son's pencil crayons, and I mean, that's it. I never stopped. So I'm adding these little dashes with a darker shade, very, sharpened it up real good, and just adding them. You can't really see, I don't think you can really see, but it looks really good. But that being that, so we're going to move on to the background, where I'm just going to do a little blending, ink blending onto cardstock. And so I did one already, you know, I wanted it to dry because I want to stamp on it, but I'm going to show you. So I cut out this using one of Sue Wilson's dies. I will list all the, I was going to say ingredients. My goodness, it's all the baking I did for Easter. I'm gonna add all the materials I used. But I'm gonna, you know, secure this with some washi tape so it doesn't move. And then I'm going to take some of that Cosmic Shimmer blending ink. I used 2 shades for this, but I couldn't find my darker one. I don't know where I put it. So I just using this one. I think it's called Subtle Sage. Love this color. Love it. And using these yummy sponges, which just bring me too much joy squeezing these suckers. But anyways, I'm just, you know, dabbing, pushing down, and then circular motion blending. Also, I've noticed, you know, using a light hand is really good too, because when I first started, I was like putting pressure down. Didn't work good. The magic of these inks is that as I'm blending, you can see I'm blending. Now you can see some of the lines, like some of the edges, kind of like, Jane, they're not blended out good, you know. But no, I don't know what this ink does, but you stop blending, let it dry, and these edges disappear. I don't know. But yeah, that is how I created a nice crisp line, because I wanted a nice crisp line. But I also wanted to add a little detail and add a little tone-on-tone dimension, which I'm going to do with these cute little tulip stamps. And I have to, oh, here are the stamped image that I cut out. Fussy cut them out, leaving a white border. I think it's much easier to cut that. I do not recommend cutting right up to the stamped line. That is, you know, leave a little white border or a bigger white border if you're not good at it. But anyways, I'm reapplying my masking paper I mean, I wouldn't have taken this off, but for filming purposes, because, you know, you don't want, you know, if you don't put it back exactly the same, it's not going to work out. But anyways, so I'm taking this ink and I'm inking it once, but stamping twice, because I want that little subtle difference, you know what I mean, to add a little bit of dimension, and overlapping it just a bit, because it doesn't matter. It's just like this kind of really soft tone on tone background, and but yet I think it adds a lot than just leaving it blank. But if you just wanted to leave it blank, it's fine too. You do what you want to do at the end, right? So that's that. And now I just have to adhere these cutie pies, which I put some foam adhesives on the back for a little dimension. And then I'm going to stamp the sentiment underneath with VersaFine, I think ink is it called. And then that's it. The card's done. And I just love how the three of them are just popping off that, you know, that kind of gloomy grayish green background for the rain, but they don't care. They love it. They're dancing in the rain and picking tulips, you know? So I had to move it a little bit closer to me because I had to see what I was doing. The phone is like right where my forehead is practically. And that's that. Super cute. And if you don't want a mask, you could just cut them out individually and put them on your card. It's good. Okay, bye.